it's my pleasure to introduce Ms. Tsvetelina Kuzmanova, who is a Senior Manager of Products for the Cambridge Institute for Sustainability and Leadership, to give us her introductory thoughts.
Thank you very much. I sit in Brussels and I represent this interesting unicorn of organization. It is part of the University of Cambridge, but I'm based in Brussels, and we work explicitly on sustainability, and we work with some of the biggest European corporates, some of the biggest European companies that are on the forefront of the transition and sustainability, investors as well, not only companies. So let me start. I assume that I am the green side of the coin here. So let me start with this premise that in Brussels, obviously the talk of the show, the new paradigm is competitiveness. Everyone is laser focused on competitiveness. And if we want European businesses to be competitive and to have the long-term investments, we need capital to flow freely and more confidently across borders. And I'm sure that Mr. Muravenov would agree with me that given the size of the capital markets in Bulgaria, we can absolutely benefit from this level of harmonization and the full-fledged what was capital markets union, now the savings and investment union, and deepening of the banking union in Europe. This is also one of the main premises of the letter report. So I'm very happy, and I want this to land loud and clear here in Bulgaria as well, among other Central and Eastern European countries, that this means more Europe. And in many instances, this means also more regulation in order to be able to get there and to get that. And when I say more Europe, I mean that it's not only because of the geopolitical situation and a matter of survival and, you know, tackling the poly crisis at European level, it's also a massive opportunity for Europe. So I was reading over the weekend in Moral Money and Financial Times, it's a JP Morgan study that estimated 7.3 trillion euros could fly from the US, given the current situation, into asset managers in Europe. Question is what we do with that and how we, particularly here in Bulgaria, benefit from that as well. So in countries like Bulgaria, I mean, the availability of money is obviously always something to keep in mind and to strive for. But for someone who has been working on the green finance topics for many years, I can say that in Bulgaria, there is enough money. Through European funds, through capital markets, through many different vehicles, we have enough green money. What we are lacking is, in a Brussels lingo, in a jargon, what we like to call a pipeline of bankable projects. We don't have enough green projects on the ground. We don't have enough real economy examples where the money can go. And this is the situation in Europe. When we have the green projects on the ground, there is the demand for it. And we see that there will be more money coming to Europe, ideally. So I work with one of the big companies, Iberdrola, in Spain. It's a Spanish multinational utilities company. So it's one of the front runners on renewable energy in Europe. So a month ago, they issued a green bond, and the day it was within hours of its announcement, it was 5 times oversubscribed. It was 750 million, and it was 5 times oversubscribed. This is one example of the regulation, an example of how we can benefit from it. Our neighbor here, Romania, they recently issued a sovereign green bond. Bulgaria is not there yet. We are not taking, even for the optics of it, even for the reputation of it, we are not there yet to do that next step. So my message for you today is that Europe should also not shy away from regulation. In fact, regulation is our strength vis-a-vis the United States, for instance. China and Asia are very much taking inspiration, especially on the ESG, on the green financing side, are very much taking inspiration from us and actually, in fact, spearing ahead when we are taking a bit of a step back here in Europe at the moment. And I'm not saying that there are not problems with regulation. In fact, Europe is sometimes its biggest enemy when it comes to it. precisely because we are developing regulation and everyone within the European Commission, within different ministries, is sitting and developing things in silos. So we end up with overlapping regulation, we end up with complexities, and people don't talk to one another. One of the biggest challenges, I think, here for our companies in Bulgaria specifically, is that we are always very late to the game. We are 5 years down the line when the regulation has been negotiated and negotiated, and finally it's transposed in national legislation, it's within the Bulgarian law, and finally the companies have to do it and no one has an idea how to do it. So my message is, do not shy away from the regulation. There is a very direct correlation between some of the green legislation and how companies and financial flows benefit, but instead try to be in the center, try to be ahead of the curve and to influence those processes at an early stage when both the policymakers and the companies are prepared for it. I like, ironically, to say that Bulgaria, especially on the finance regulation, Bulgaria is a policy taker, not a policy maker. So it's a high time that our companies, our financial sector, and our policymakers are taking that opportunity. The Eurozone accession, by the way, it's not so much from a monetary or macroeconomic point of view, but from even regulatory for the banks. Let's not forget Europe is a predominantly bank-based financial system. There are a lot of benefits from being front and center and actually participating actively in this. So yes, two messages: regulation can work better. It can work better only when we equally participate in it, here in Europe, in Eastern Europe, in Bulgaria as well. But also let's try to be ahead of the curve and to see how we benefit from it, rather than seeing it simply as a compliance exercise.
Tsvetelina, I just want to ask you how countries like Bulgaria could benefit most from the single market.
So I had some time to channel my inner Hemingway. So I had the forewords. We need a vision. So this is very much similar to what Evgeny was also referring to. But countries like Bulgaria, Bulgaria especially, needs to take it, finally get its house in order and to actively participate in the discussions and the decisions in Europe. We need a vision and we need a clear, direct, path ahead and direction of travel. We need to know where our strengths are, what our economy should look like, what our sectors should look like, and how to get there. It should be a country-wide initiative. I'm sure here for the whole week we will hear some exceptional and very inspiring examples of how individual companies or individual entities are doing amazing things. Yes, we need, however, to move the whole economy, small and medium-sized enterprises alike, and not to just cut corners and exclude people from the conversation. So I think the of utmost importance for the moment is for the country to sit together, pull itself together and decide where the economy should head and how to get there, and to actively start benefiting from these discussions in Brussels as well.